Hey gang, welcome to another edition of Doc Schlock, where it's a review of the movie Mortuary. Before your funeral, before you are buried, before you are covered with the last shovelful of dirt, be sure you are really dead. Because otherwise it's going to be the worst prank ever. Well, it's a story of a young woman named Christy who is trying to investigate the possible murder of her dad. She doesn't believe that her dad actually drowned in a pool. She believes he was murdered. And her mom is just who you think a mom would be in this situation, just a real pain in the behind. While on the case, her boyfriend Greg is also joining her, because Greg and a buddy of his go to this old building to try and see if they can find a new tire for their van, when they have a blowout. And they discover that there's something weird going on. A bunch of people dressed up in Celtic clothing and doing some sort of weird ritual. Well, Greg's friend gets killed off, and that's about it. Greg and Christy go around, try to discover and figure out who's killing a bunch of people left and right, and who this mysterious man in a cloak outfit with an embalming tool is killing people. Well, towards the end of the movie, we all find out that the killer is actually Paul. He is, of course, naturally the mortician's son. And about that, towards the end of the movie, Paul decides that he wants to throw together a little wedding party for him and Christy, because he plans on trying to marry her, even though the party consists mostly of dead bodies, including Paul's dead mother. So by the end of it, Christy and Greg wind up defeating Paul and killing him, and they wind up walking out of the wedding room. But before you know it, it turns out Paul's mom wasn't really quite dead. She leaps out of a chair, grabs the tool that Paul was killing everybody with, and runs at him, but it goes into freeze frame before the movie's over with. Oh, goodness gracious. So, why did this movie suck? I think most of all it was that ending, because you had to know that Paul's mom was going to jump up and try to go after Christy and Greg and kill them. The kills, though, I will give it this much. It was just the same tool over and over and over and over and over again. But you could pretty much predict who was going to die next. It wasn't that hard of a thing to figure out. I had a couple of good red herrings, I'll say that much, but ultimately, overall, you're not really surprised that it's the mortician's son who winds up doing all the killing. The druid seance thing, I guess you could call it, that was pretty much explained, but still kind of stupid. And Christy's dad getting killed, he gets hit with a boat oar, and it looks so fake. It plays in slow-mo, but it still looks so extremely fake and ridiculous and stupid. So, yeah, this movie's pretty overall bad. But for something made in the early '80s as a horror movie, some of you might enjoy it, but me personally, from that first kill with a boat oar, I thought this movie is going to get not a whole lot better. And surprisingly, the movie was one of the first ones starring Bill Paxton. So he's the one who plays Paul. He's the one who's the killer in the movie. Paul basically seems like sort of a geek, but when you figure out that he's the killer, you're kind of not surprised. And when he does the whole wedding thing with the dead bodies and his dead mom, and he tries to kill Greg and all this, yeah, it's pretty weird, pretty twisted. But again, you guys may enjoy it, and if you have seen it, if you like, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys. And that's going to do it for this review of Mortuary. If you like my videos, feel free to subscribe. If you have a horror, sci-fi horror, fantasy horror, or comedy horror movie that just wouldn't stay buried, or something like that, send it my way, and I will get on it ASAP. Thank you guys so very, very much for watching, and until next time, for Doc Schlock, as always, stay strong and rock on. And that headstone right there, probably the worst one I've seen since a headstone I once read that says, "Here is Jerry. He's really buried. He wasn't too scary. His real name was Larry."